screen. Yes. Okay, so this is the first part that relates to sleep hygiene, the science of sleep, and all the rest of it. Now, we go into a different topic, but it's related because we are talking basically what happens during the night. And I would like to talk to you about dreams. There is currently no consensus about why we dream, but the idea that dreams are given to us for our advantage and instruction is very, very old. The first one who wrote about who wrote a book on dreams was somebody on the 4th century before Christ, called Antiphon. It was a Greek philosopher, and he wrote about this book that was designed to be used for practical interpretation and practical reason. And in the 2nd century AD, a similar book was written by Artemidorus. He claimed to have gathered his information from ancient sources, including an Egyptian dream book dating around 2000 before Christ. In terms of dreams, this is Asclepius. This is the god of dreams and healing. He is represented with, you know, the classic serpent entwined in a rod. In his temples, snakes were bred because they thought to be a symbol of rebirth, because they change skin every year. In his temple, you know, it was the temple also of pharmakon, which means something that heals. Pharmakon derives from a Greek, and it means at the same time poison and medicine. And this is, you know, the link to the snakes, because it had a dual quality. The priests of this god were oracles, and they would predict the future. In particular, they would ask a solution of a medical problem or treatment, asking this god to send them a dream in their sleep. There is another word that is very interesting in Greek, which is klinein, which is you know, a sort of a small sofa where people lie down in the temple to fall asleep. And this is the origin of the word clinic. Every night we have 4 to 6 dreams. The first dream usually is filled with all the, what we would call the day residue. Is almost a replay of something something emotional that has happened during the previous day or the previous few days or the previous week. But as the night goes on, the dreams start to pull images and experiences and emotion from earlier and earlier lifespan, until we get to the last dream of the night, which is the longest and often the most bizarre. Please note that the dreaming brain is more active than the waking brain. Now I would like to talk to you about the two fathers of, well, say psychoanalysis, but the people that really studied dreams, Freud and Jung. They had a very different view of dream and dream theory. Freud thought about dreams have a specific function for Freud. is called disguise censorship. Disguise censorship is generally considered at the heart of Freudian theory. This view, Freud thought that we have a psychic censor that block wishes unacceptable to our consciousness. So dreams are bizarre, according to Freud, because of the loss of organizing capacity in the brain. The apparent illogicality and bizarreness of dream is due to the regressive nature of the dream process. Now, the mere fact that the system is supposed to function in the way that it does, where the executive system of the frontal lobes cannot program or regulate and verify the output of what we experience. And therefore, we experience this bizarreness of our dream. He talks about a motivational conflict, and he describes a volition opposed by a counter volition. So a complication of motives, opposing tendency, or two different forces pushing and pulling. For example, he talks about, for example, he talks, let me find this. Okay, yes. In Freud account, he talks about the infant that needs to be socialized, he needs to become a part of the society. Part of socializing, the exercise of socializing the infant means that his aggressive and sexual instincts needs to be tamed somehow. How are they tamed? With the, let's say, blackmail of punishment or withdrawal of the caregiver's affection. So, let's say that there is a child who's suddenly is, let's say, challenged by the arrival of a sibling. And the child might be very young, and he might have this instinct of, hatred and murderous feelings. But the parents encourage him to think differently. And so the child needs to repress these wishes, let's say. So what happens is that then the child have bizarre dreams. But Freud talks about the dreams in this way. He talks about, let's say, there is a desire that he calls P. The desire is inhibited. The desire is for the child to harm the sibling, and is prevented from a direct expression. So instead of dreaming to harm the siblings, this action is inhibited and is substituted by Q, on learned association. So the child might dream of a bird that is in a cage. However, if this bird in a cage is still perceived as a threat, is still not inhibited enough, then there is another image that is superimposed, R, that is also based on association, and might find an indirect expression. So it needs to be so indirectly expressed that the dreamer is not aware of what is the real content of dreams. And this is why Freud did a lot of work with association. Whenever he was looking at a dream, he would ask the dreamer about his own association of specific things to go back to the original repressed instinctual force. Inhibition occurs in relation to motivational conflict, and it would be expected in the areas of the brain associated with inhibition is the same area that are associated with motivation. So this is what Freud was thinking about. This is basically the general theory of the dream theory of Freud. A different view had Jung had a very different take of dream. The dream theory of Carl Gustav Jung is one of the most important and widely influential dream theories in modern psychology. Jung was a Swiss medical doctor and was at one time Freud's closest friend and leading student. However, Jung and Freud had a bitter falling out in 1914. In part because of their different theories of the nature and function of dreams, and in part for other professional reasons. In Jung's view, dreams are direct and natural expression of the current condition of the dreamer's mental world. Jung rejected Freud's claim that dreams intentionally disguise their meanings. Rather, Jung believed that the nature of dreams is to present a spontaneous self-portrait in symbolic form of the actual situation in the unconscious. Jung claimed that dreams speak in a distinctive language of symbols, images, and metaphor, a language that is the unconscious mind's natural means of expression. We have trouble understanding dreams, Jung said, only because this symbolic language is so different from the language of our waking consciousness. Dreams sometimes portray the dreamer's relationship with the external world, that is, within people, events, and activities of the dreamer's daily life. Jung called this the objective level of a dream's meaning. At other times, however, dreams portray the dreamer's inner world. The dream's figures are personification of thoughts and feelings within the dreamer's own psyche. This, Jung said, is the subjective level of dreams' meaning. Jung criticized Freud for acknowledging only the objective level. The true nature of dreams, Jung believed, is the portrayal of both these levels of the dreamer's life. Jung stated that dreams serve two functions. One function is to compensate for imbalances in the dreamer's psyche. Dreams bring forth unconscious contents that consciousness has either ignored or depreciated or actively repressed. For example, if a person is overly intellectual, his or her dreams will work to balance this conscious excess by bringing forth images of the psychic, more emotion-oriented contents. According to Jung, when the dreamer recognizes and accepts these unconscious contents, great psychological balance is achieved. The second function of dreams is to provide prospective images of the future. Jung agrees with Freud that dreams may look backwards to past experience, but he argues that dreams also look forward to anticipate what the dreamer's future's developments may be. Jung did not mean that dreams predict the future, only that dreams can suggest what might happen, what possibility the future might hold. Ultimately, Jung believed that dream function promotes the most important developmental process of human life, namely uniting consciousness with unconscious in an harmonious wholeness way. Jung called this process individuation, a complete actualization of the whole human being. One of the most distinctive features of Jung's theory of dreams is his claim that dreams express not just personal contents, but also collective or universal contents. Jung believes that dreams frequently contain archetypes, universal psychic images that underlie all human thought. Archetypes reflect a natural wisdom deep within the human unconscious. Archetypal images in dreams can provide the dreamer with special insights and guidance along the path towards individuation. Jung believed that the world's religious and mythological tradition contains a lot of archetypal images, and he refers to this tradition in describing the nature and function of dreams. Jung's dreams theory has been criticized for being very close to mysticism and the occult. Jung insisted, however, that his theory of dreams is based strictly on empirical observation. He claimed to have interpreted over 80,000 dreams during his almost 60 years of clinical practice. Jung said his theory simply attempts to describe and classify the dream phenomenon he observed. Okay, so this